plays to the brilliance of Walt Disney. And I'll tell you guys why. Like, Walt Disney kind of understood that you had to kind of evolve your characters and keep them relevant as you go. You can't, a lot of these companies, like we talked about Bedrock with the Flintstones, they try to do something 30 years after the fact, right? And by that time, it's kind of, sometimes it's too late. You're trying to rekindle something that may or may not work. Where Walt Disney said, hey, you know what? I'm going to evolve Mickey Mouse. I'm going to, with Fantasia, they changed the way his face looked, right? And he was relevant. He kept using Mickey Mouse through the years. So he never became a Felix the Cat, or he never became a Flintstones where you had to reboot 30 years later.
Well, and he started out that way. Like, Mickey was more mischievous. He was more, to his surroundings, sort of like a wise guy, a pest. But as you said, as he moves on, he then dawns on like the suit and tie. He becomes like a master of ceremony type of mouse, So it's like, in that transition, it's like, okay, you get this real charismatic, carefree, kind of a pessimistic mouse, and then you move him onto this sort of like where you kind of have a beloved character that everyone can enjoy. But then it goes back to the roots with the new Mickey Mouse shorts. It shows how he started off with, that personality where it's like, I could be a little bit of a wisecrack still, after 80 plus years, I still got it.
Yeah. I mean, that was the brilliant Walt, even back then, he knew you had to keep your character in the limelight for it to stay relevant. And a lot of these other companies never, even after all that, they never got it. They would let these characters go dormant for decades and try to bring them back after the fact. And sometimes it works, but a lot of times it doesn't,
Yeah. I mean, you try to do something with a built-in audience or something that worked in previous generations or in previous years, and sometimes it's just no longer relevant, and they don't get that balance of staying true to the source material and giving something that fans will enjoy, but also newcomers will enjoy. That balance is really hard to strike, and like you said, a lot of times they strike out. But I think you bring up a good point. I mean, the Disney company has done a fairly decent job of keeping a lot of the characters relevant, a lot of the stories relevant, a lot of their franchises relevant. And so, that's just, like I said, it's the brilliance of Walt Disney. And hopefully we can see a little taste of that with He-Man.
Yeah. I mean, even like if you look at something like Beauty and the Beast, right? They came out like in 1991. Mm-hmm. Like that movie came out like a long time ago, right? Then they tried to do the live action movie, in what I think it was like 2017. And the movie made over $1 billion. Now, the movie made over $1 billion, not because, I mean, in my opinion, it wasn't because this particular film looks so amazing. I think it's because of kudos to Disney, because they were able to keep that film relevant all those years, where by the time they redid it, people were still interested in the franchise. It wasn't a dead franchise they were trying to rekindle. It never left. I mean, Little Mermaid, people are still talking about that movie.
And I think it's how Disney approaches the platform. It's not just on a one level base of just keeping it on the screen. Like it went from the film to Broadway,
right?
And that's how they kept it relevant for how many years that it was on Broadway. And then, many years later, you have the characters in the parks, you have the live stage show at Hollywood Studios, you have the new attraction that's at Tokyo. So it's like, and then with the film and everything, to make, to your point, Orange Grove, with the live action, it's like they kept it so relevant, so fresh, that they allowed the audience to not forget about those characters, to not forget about the story.
Yeah.
I mean, Little Mermaid came out in 1989, and I think the attraction in DCA premiered, 2010, 2011?
Yeah.
And that's some staying power right there. It just shows you how relevant they can keep these franchises sometimes. It's interesting because, we talk about Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse is like this character that knows no boundaries almost. You can go into any country and you can kind of point to a Mickey Mouse doll and they kind of know what it is, even though their preconceptions of it are completely different than our own. It's really, really, it's really kind of an awesome thing that the Disney company has done over the years.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting too, how like within the context of Disney, like how they lost Oswald all those years. And I think they bought the rights back to Oswald like in 2006. And even when you look at an example like that, I love Oswald. I will buy all the Oswald merchandise. I love that character. But I mean, fact is, he's not Goofy or Donald or the other characters that they were able to kind of nurture through the years and kind of keep relevant. And it kind of shows he's not the same because he didn't get that same, evolve the evolution like the other ones did. And he is more irrelevant, sadly, because I love the character, but he's more irrelevant. He's Disney's Felix the Cat.